Hello everyone and welcome to the Quake Pro League. Stage 3, Week 3. We are back live in the flesh, of course, in the wonderful Face It Studios, where I'm joined by my absolute favourite person in the whole wide world. It's Lethal.
Oh, you stop it.
Oh, I can't. I'm too excited, Harry. They've kept us apart for far too long. We're finally here together.
Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? And, you know, looking very snazzy as always.
Stop it.
I know, I can't help it.
I know. God, we're like an old married couple. It's
I
going to
think
be a
we are.
lovely day of Quake, isn't it? Of course, some fantastic matchups to come throughout the day. There's already been some blinders throughout Stage 3, and it's only looking to get better and better as the competition comes on. It's really been quite a good stage so far, hasn't it?
It's been very heated. There's some players I thought would come off a lot better, but now they haven't. They kind of fallen off just a little bit. Players like Dramasware during Stage 2. He was on the up and up and up throughout the entire time, but had a bit of a shaky start, but we'll see what happens with him and others also later on.
Oh yeah, there's also been obviously some interesting aspects that have happened with the development of Avok looking so good, being able to best Cooler not only on LAN, but also online. Some amazing results have come through, but we do have some even better games coming up tonight that we can start to delve into when we have a look over on the schedule. As you can see, obviously up first is going to be Xron facing off versus Spart1e. Now, Harry, our first two games of the night will both be pre-recorded. They were already played offline. That's also going to be applied to Nosfer versus Cygib.
Now, Nosfer and Cygib, it's quite hard because with Nosfer, it's very aggressive, it's got a solid aim, and it depends on what kind of maps he's actually playing on. The first one, it depends on the circumstances of how well he will do, but another one, Tox versus Razy. What kind of Tox are we going to get?
Yeah.
If Tox is on form, that's going to be a cracker of a match. If not, we'll have to see what he can do, because Razy is super consistent.
Oh yeah, it's hard, right? Because obviously we always have that conversation about how Tox can be a meme machine when he's on point, when he looks like old school Tox, but even when he's at his best, can you expect him to be able to overthrow Razy, who's really in that hot spot for trying to prove he can be a world beater?
Tox has hit a very high skill ceiling. Back in the day, he was very good at Quake 4, but now he's had his ups and his downs. He's one of those players where he's hit a high peak, but doesn't show it as much as he would like to. But if there's any game he needs to do it in, this is the one today.
Oh yeah, if you can prove that you can beat Razy, even on a map here and there, it would be nice. Let's move on though and see what the next 4 games we have coming up are. Of course, Effortless versus Chain. This is definitely going to be a bit of a gem in the rough as well. Effortless, knocked out of Poland, on LAN, live in the flesh by Chain. Can he try and rebuttal? Can he go back against that?
This is definitely going to be a rematch, which will be interesting to see later on. I think it was 2-1 in the series to Chain. Another one, Cooler versus Base. This is going to be quite a low frag game. We know Cooler is the sort of player where he likes to contest every single power-up, but Base, very slow, very defensive, but it likes to wait for his opponent to make the first mistake 9 times out of 10. Avik versus Kilson, though, my goodness, that will be an absolute bloodbath depending on the circumstances. Rafa Dewey, we'll have to see what happens. I've seen Dewey scrim against Chain, the Hang. Didn't look the best, but it is Rafa after all. Remember, you had a 13-0 map line throughout the whole of the finals. Ridiculous.
Yeah, he looked ridiculous. Basically proving that he is one of the best Quake will ever produce. And we can further back that up by the proof in the pudding of the leaderboards as well, as we do have our overall standings that we can step into to see just how things have been shaping up throughout the course of the season, because he has just been on a whole nother level, still continuously, even after the event. You know, he's so far up there, and I don't know if anyone is going to be able to knock him off that top spot purely because of the amount of points he's accumulated, Harry.
68-point difference between Rafa and Kilson. That is absolutely unheard of. Razy creeping up as well. The Hang is still there. A little bit shaky now and again, but Wenger, he reminds me of maybe a couple of years ago, like a Claus in that way, in sort of his play style. But I feel like with a player like Wenger, he hasn't even hit the highest of skill ceiling yet. I think there's plenty more to see, and it's a very scary sight knowing how good he already is.
Oh yeah, indeed. Interesting point to take away with this. Obviously, 6 versus 7 coming up later that we touched on a little bit with Cooler facing off versus Base. They're now literally fighting for placement because there is the potential that Base could overtake him here. So it truly is not only going to be the battle for CIS, but also the battle to push yourself really quite far up those standings and break into that top 6.
With Base, it was weird because online he used to do so well. He used to struggle with his offline appearance here and there, but you saw the last stage. He started in losers round 1, round 2, but all the way up to top 3.
Yeah.
That is very rare, and it takes a lot of stamina to be able to do anything like that. So Cooler will have a lot on his hands during that match.
Yeah, by no means is that going to be a walk in the park for either of them. Base will want to prove really quite a bit from that. Chain over in 9th place as well. Avok climbing up, now situated at 10th. It's crazy how much development we've had out of Avik. From Poland to now, the fact that he's actually starting to rack up big wins under his belt. If he can carry on that trend and overthrow Kilson, that would just be absolutely wild.
I think Avik is very similar to Cypher in terms of online, sometimes have his good moments and his bad moments, but he's shown a lot more consistency, which is great, because you need it especially during this season as we go forward. But it's very hard. Chain, again, stage 2, even though he got about top 12, top 8, that kind of area, he beat so many good players leading up to that moment, but he needs to continue that progression. Don't just let it be a stale.
Because he's had some close games online already. Obviously, I believe it was the matchup versus Dewey, where it wasn't really a high fragging game, which you're not going to expect to come out from Dewey, but it was the fact Dewey had his number. He knew how to counter Chain, and really it came back to bite him quite heavily. So Chain, his stocks are still definitely rising, but he needs to prove that it wasn't a fluke still.
Yeah, I think the key word fluke there is an absolute must from him. He's got to make sure that he actually progresses further, but it's very hard to say. Dramus, I want to see a lot more from him. We know it's only the first couple of weeks going into it, but I'm sure he can change his ways. Even offline at the Stage 2 finals, he struggled just a little bit, but with a little more effort and time, I reckon he can rise up the ranks as we go forth.
Yeah, because there was a lot of, I'd say, everyone giving faith to Dramus and saying that it seemed like he had been improving so much. He was starting to hit some really quite ridiculous shots, and that he was getting into a position to contend for that top spot. Now, still stuck in the bottom, really, towards 16th. I think he's left a lot to be desired, because people have seen that he can perform to that level.
The whole point of the Pro League is just due to the fact that you play week on week, day in, day out, scrimming constantly all the time. I've got something to play for. And you see some of his players progress, like Zeneku, for example. Yeah. We'll have to see how he does later on in the stages. Yeah, sure, fair enough, he hasn't had the greatest of starts, but I reckon halfway through, it will kind of adjust, settle, see how things will go, and work on his mistakes going forward.
Well, going forward with the show, let's start to talk about our upcoming match. Obviously, our opener, this one is going to be pre-recorded. It was previously played, but the results have been kept safe and secret from us, so it is still going to be a surprise. Xron versus Spart1e. Obviously, the Swedish superstar in Spart1e. He's back in the league now after being knocked out back towards the end of Stage 1. I think he's still trying to prove that he's got that fight left in him. He's got the experience. By no means is that a question, but does he still have the skill, Harry?
It depends on who he plays against. I think he struggles against people who are quite defensive, quite calculated, but I think Xron, it suits his style. He's very aggressive, just like himself, but then again, we'll have to see how things will go forward. Because Spart1e, it's nice to see him return. He's always been a very good player. He's always hit that ceiling, but again, another person who only shows it now and again. His consistency, it depends on the situation, depends on the map, but depending on his map choices, we'll have to see what happens.
And depending if his rockets are on point as well, because this man truly is a rocket man when he gets going. He will take you to new heights. It's ridiculous. But his opponent in Xron, still, I feel Xron is so far up there, and it seems like sometimes we've only scratched the surface of how good he could potentially be.
Only a matter of time before he progresses even further. He's a very good player, very strong. You cannot underestimate this guy, even though I think it feels it suits more Spart1e's style here. But Xron, he really needs to show what he can do and what he can come up with. We know that he's not really a big fan of how defensive some of the matchups can be. He likes to be the one to force out the mistakes before actually waiting for them to happen, like the opposite of Baze. But this is why it suits Spart1e's style. Spart1e doesn't like the smooth, calculated plays. He's not really as methodical. So this will be possibly a bloodbath between these two.
I would hope so. It would definitely give us a spectacle to witness, right, between both of them. If you have Spart1e playing like full form, coming in, just absolutely swinging with the rockets, being able to do a ton of splash damage, and Xron just doing what he does best, because movement-wise, he can really leave you in awe with some of the things he pulls off, but he's also so crisp of a rail. I don't know how he pulls these flicks off.
It is just absolute madness, isn't it? The guy is just insane. I think he's known for having one of the most solid aims in the circuit, so we'll have to see how we go from there.
Oh, yeah. But let's delve into the picks and bans for now and see which champions they're going to be busting out as well, because that could definitely affect how we think this one is going to swing, Harry.
Yeah, as you can see, Bloodrun and Keep have been banned, which is understandable. No Awoken, so it's a shame for Spart1e in some ways, but looking at Galena for Xron to start with in the beginning. But Spart1e with the Sorlag, it seems like he's more looking for the aggressive approach as he goes forward. Blood Covenant, it depends on the scenario of how Spart1e will be able to handle things. But Ruins, you know, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Spart1e can maybe, we said it before, it's the calculated pushes. He's not very, he doesn't enjoy it that much. He likes to get in your face and just be as aggressive as possible. So you have to see how he actually manages to cope against Xron during this matchup.
I really like the fact we're seeing Athena loads more, especially on Blood. I think people have started to realise just how versatile she can be, especially on Blood, to just have such an edge over your opponent. And that is just going to be an absolute movement bonanza, actually. Spart1e coming out on the Doom, that could be a really fun matchup.
Athena, yeah, you see it a lot on Blood Covenant nowadays. You see a lot of Doom nowadays, not even just in, of course, in ranked in matchmaking, but you see it in a lot in Pro League recently too. But yeah, you are right about Athena. The speed, the movement. As soon as if you're one of those players where you like to do a bit of chip damage before you move in, Athena is the perfect play. So I think Spart1e's got a rough idea on Blood Covenant what to expect and needs to be really careful, because as soon as some damage has been done to him, he's going to get pushed instantly and needs to think about what routes he wants to take to kind of rotate round for the power-up controls.
See, the rough part is, off the back of this video, actually looking at it, I think from the champion picks, I would have to give it an edge towards Xron. I also think Strog and Pika coming out on runes is going to have so much more movement to just be able to really be able to run away from the BJ if he wants to and just completely juke him. I think that crouch slide could come in to pay absolute dividends once we get towards Sarnath.
I'm surprised, like, you know, even with the Visor being banned, Visor's used a lot on runes, like constantly all the time. It's very rare you don't really see it. But no, you're absolutely right. I think it's more depending on how Spart1e plays at this point.
Yeah, I think he needs to try and bring the aggression there. Obviously, you do have the capabilities. You're on the BJ. If it gets to a point where he wants to fight over the heavy, he would be able to scare him off a little bit more. You can use that akimbo at times like that, but we'll have to wait and see. Just from initially, though, looking at it, I feel I'd have to give my investment over to Xron. I feel like this series is in his hands, potentially. What would you say, Harry? What are you looking at here?
Well, do you know what's funny?
Go on.
I agree with you.
Yeah?
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
stop it.
I know. It's just one of those things, isn't it? You know, I'm not saying it because you said it, don't you worry about that. But you got to remember the last results as well. You know, Xron lost to Razy 1-2, which is, you know, you expect Razy to come out on top like a little bit more heavily than that.
Yeah.
But then again, it shows what Xron can actually do. He can still keep up with all these top players. And again, Spart1e, he lost the base 2-1. But again, it's like I mentioned earlier, he doesn't like the defensive, calculated pushes. He wants you to make the first mistake, but if you're playing against someone like Base, that's not going to happen. He'll wait for you day and night. That's why a lot of his games are low frags, but sometimes it will come in on top. But Spart1e's not playing against a player like this, so that's why it could be neck and neck between these two.
Well, that's the crazy part as well, right? You kind of like, for me, my approach to it has been hit on the nail on the head there by the fact that when he did face off versus Razy, obviously a much closer affair than potentially some people would have looked at. But I think that's just because there is so much more to get out of Xron, and his position in the standings really doesn't tell the true story of how good he actually is, because he can just be a lunatic on the server. If you let him play the way he wants to and you don't put pressure on him early, he'll start to run away with things. That's why he's called the handler. He will handle the situation. But Spart1e is there, of course, meme jumper in full force. Let's see if he can battle back, Harry, as we're going to kick this one off over on Vale.
Yeah, this will definitely be close to save, at least depending on the control at the start, but at least Spart1e got it heavy, trying to do a little bit of damage to the shotgun there, but he's trying to stay out of his way. But Xron instead trying to stop him from getting those rockets, but gets the LG anyway. Tries to go pretty well, but they collide. The conflict spare takes a lot of damage, but just manages to get away with his life. But Xron will get a little bit of HP back to see what we can do next.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little opening initiation from Spart1e. It's a fair bit of damage, but that's the worst possible outcome. It takes one rail and one nicely placed totem to spear Spart1e to death.
Yeah, it's rare to see three totems on the board with Galena, especially on this map, but already making great use of it. But Spart1e's just trying to get a little bit of map control, got the rockets in control. Anyway, will he get him a frag? Yes, he does, and already that is 2-1 in favour of Spart1e.
What a quick turnaround. This matchup has already had so much weird stuff go on. That's madness. We're 60 seconds in. It's already been a bit of a massacre. A magnitude of different frags thrown in their faces. What on earth?
It's like I said before, both these players are very aggressive, and if it was against someone like Base or Dewey, anyone like that, they will see a completely different matchup, and as we see, Spart1e managed to get that Mega on board. Gets a lot of just to help himself a little bit further, but we'll back off for the time being to see if he can scout out where exactly Xron is, but he's going to know, especially from that rocket up top as he drops down. But will he back off? He's going to try and stay as much as he can, but surely Xron will be able to get this frag. Misses a few rockets here and there, tries to finish with the LG, gets another one on board, but Xron is just struggling to finish him off here. But will he take him down? Yes, he does, finally, as it's a nail on the head and ties things up.
Was toying with his food for a little while there before he was finally able to completely capitalise and kill him, but now it's tied up at 2 apiece. Xron's looking to do a lot more as well. If you're going to take that Mega, at least you're going to take a load of damage for it. Actually misses the follow-up rail, and this could come out to bite him quite heavily. Spart1e has finally taken Mega, now dives in for the fight. Xron's stack is so much lower, but a well-timed rocket could have saved him.
That time has helped a mile, but look at this. Spart1e's so weak, tries to get one more rail off, doesn't in the end. Lucas now Xron slightly on the lead, he's going to wait for the spawn, doesn't go the right way he wanted him to. And we'll try and get some kind of map control here, but this is the thing with Spart1e, with Sorlag as well, he can push around and catch up to him at any time Xron is weak, but misses one rail. Just try to go for the second. The Mega is up. It still manages to... I think he just assumed that he may go for the Mega instead, but doesn't. Gets the rail off and will tie things up once again and try and do some damage on Spawn.
This really has been an absolute scrap. For the full 2 minutes so far, they've been consistently fighting at every given opportunity. There's been no one trying to play for control. Major items are just background scenery for him right now. It's all about the war, Harry.
It's just an absolute mess and massacre so far, but that's what we love to see here, as he will try and push in and trying to get some LG damage here and there. It's serving up a little bit, but they're both so close in HP, barely managed to survive, and Xron was so lucky there, because either way, whoever would have survived would have got that Mega. It's got the light again, and look at this, straight away. Spart1e was trying to maybe try and finish him off in some way, but I don't think he realises how weak he is. I think he does now. But this is the time for Spart1e to try and at least do something. But somehow Xron managed to get so much damage done, considering how weak he was.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be in. 4-3, advantage over towards Xron. We're coming up towards 3 minutes 30 now. Spart1e definitely has the high ground to play with, but it's all about who can snatch away the Mega. And Xron is doing so much damage, so much confidence as well from a man that's barely got any stack left, and he's still hitting these rails.
I mentioned it earlier, just before we started, his rail is absolutely ridiculous. He's trying to contest that heavy, but it's not going to be the case, as he seriously, Xron needs to be careful now on what his next move is going to be. Spart1e still on top at the moment, deciding where he could be and just trying to scout out his whereabouts before his next bout. And now, looks like Spart1e will stand his ground for the time being. We'll have to see what Xron will do here.
Xron, he can afford to slow it down a little bit now. Heavy's going to be back up in 1 second. Could be a little bit of a duel over it. Instead, this hasn't really gone the way he wanted to. Has to drop a totem just to stay alive. Has been given the heavy. It's a little bit of a consolation prize, but I don't think it's going to matter. He won't have a chest to wear it for much longer as the super shotgun comes out and Spart1e leaves him laid out on the floor.
That's a real shame. Maybe if he kept his rockets out, his defensive rockets were on par. He was keeping him at bay, considering the stack Spart1e had, but he was trying to contest for the rockets again. And Xron will manage to get away with that. As heavy will come up in the next 8 seconds. The contesting has started. But what will happen is Spart1e is going to try and challenge for as much as he can, but he's so weak at this point. Is he going to try and stop him? Yes, he does. Gets all that damage done. Is he going to be able to stay alive? No, he won't, but that was so close considering the circumstances he was in.
Yeah. Had a lot of time to live, longer than potentially he should have there. Xron takes a ridiculous amount of damage straight off the back, though. Spart1e doesn't want to let him keep that lead for very long whatsoever. Starts to punish immediately. Xron's got a little bit of time now to get his stack back up slowly. He can roam around and rebuild it, and this could be the fairest fight he'll get. The rockets are perfectly placed as they land straight into his chest, but it doesn't matter. Xron, the overextension, all it took was one final rocket from Spart1e to deny it and tie up the scoreline.
And now he's trying to contest again, but it's not going to happen. He needs to get away. He was so close. I think Spart1e must have been on like 10 HP. He was so weak, but now gets the Mega just to add insult to injury. And he's going to try and push for him, but does get that rail off. So Xron now manages to get away, but he knows that heavy is coming in the next few seconds. But will he try and go for it? Surely not. He's going to push in anyway. Completely unexpected, but he is baiting that heavy out. Gets a few rockets down himself, but surely this is going to be another frag for him. In and out the tellies, both of these players go. And we'll let him get away for now.
What is this teleporter technique that is coming through, Harry? There was a fight back and through this looked like 5 different times. He finally goes down and it goes 6-5 to Spart1e. That was just chaos.
It was. You couldn't make this up at this point, could you? Already 6-5, 3.5 minutes. It is neck and neck here. So neither of these players need to be, need to extend or be over aggressive to try and get these frags back. But I love how he's just baiting this heavy every single time, just to find out his whereabouts first, just to bait him out so that he can actually find out where he is and then go for him as soon as he picks it up. But Xron was not falling for it at all, but Scooby's on down once again. His LG's looking very good. Managed to get a tone, to get a little bit of health back, doesn't matter, as Spart1e gets another frag on the board.
Such a bizarre matchup already, and we've still got a couple more minutes to go of this chaos as well. If it carries on like this, it's going to be one to remember. 7-5 right now in favour of Spart1e. He's finally been able to assert a little bit of dominance, spitting everywhere as he charges forward, looking for a further frag on Xron. But his stack is finally worse for wear and begins to back off.
Yeah, he definitely needs to back off now before...
that
3 HP as well! My goodness, I did not expect that in the slightest. but tries to get one for himself. Doesn't happen, knows exactly where he is. But he's going to stay defensive for now. He's going to pick up the Mega, wait for his whereabouts to see exactly where he goes next. But Mega has appeared, and that heavy will come up in the next 7 seconds. What will he do? He's going to fake it, but he's actually going to go for it, but goes for him anyway. He's in a perfect position to go for it. Goes for it straight away. This is a opportunity. Oh, and the rail, and gets the heavy at the same time. 7-all between these two.
This is ridiculous. This game has been so close the entire time, and Xron pulling off some magician-level plays right now. It's absolute magic, knocking him up in the air as well, and will finally strike him down with his LG to finish him off. Spart1e, he's got to come back into this one. They've been playing aggressive the entire time. I wouldn't be surprised if he carried on with that trend as they both leap straight into the Mega. Xron goes down again, and it's already tied up.
As if that happened, both would go at the exact same time. Sadly for Xron, Spart1e managed to get it, but Xron's so weak. He needs to get out of it, doesn't. Of course, Spart1e treating it like it's playground right now for the last couple of frags. Let's see what we can do here. Still got a reasonably good stack, as we can see for now. But what will Xron's next move be? He's going to see his whereabouts, find out where he is, finds him, expects him to go for light armor, doesn't anyway. He's going to pull back, gets the next Mega, but Xron so in a little bit of trouble here, Jack.
This is absolute madness, Harry. You'd think we had just tuned into a game of TDM rather than actual arena right now, because it's just been constant action. There's been no downtime whatsoever, and I don't think that's going to change. We're into the final 60 seconds here. Spart1e has a 1 frag advantage, and Xron is not going to want to allow that to last for much longer. Starts diving in, trying to cause chaos. Luckily, Spart1e catches himself and doesn't go straight into a totem that was waiting around the corner.
I know what Spart1e did. They expected him to come at him straight away, try and capitalise on how much damage he's taken, decides to change his mind. But look at Xron's sack so far. He's looking impenetrable at the stage. But so far, Spart1e's not too good either. I wouldn't be surprised at some stage if it goes to an OT. But Xron needs to figure out how he wants to do this. Of course, with Sorlag, he can go anywhere. He likes a decent pace. But still trying to keep away from him. But even with the way he's doing right now, catch him off guard with the LG. He's done so much damage to him, but it's still an even trade. He's going to try and get away to fight for another day, but there's only 10 seconds left, Jack.
He's got to fight right now, and all Spart1e has to do is continue running away on that big lizard, and it seems like the girl's been able to do it. She's just got to keep running for the next 1 second. Xron turns the corner, get his lip peeled off. Oh, disgusting finish from Spart1e. A 10-8 scoreline that was just continuous war between the both of them. They had no room to breathe. Wow, nearly 5k damage from Xron, Harry. This is just madness. 800
more damage. He had all that map presence still, but just couldn't do anything with it. He didn't have he has the Mega and Heavy as much as he would like to, but the 800 damage showed that he was doing the right things at the right time with his map presence, made sure to try and get the chip damage any way he can, but it just wasn't enough. But you couldn't ask for more on the first match of the day, can you?
No, to start us on a high and just get us in a mood for some Quake Pro League. Obviously, God, since last week we've come back in it. They wanted to start us with definitely a big talking point, and that's exactly what this game was. Some of the most high-octane gameplay I think we've seen in quite some time.
Oh, definitely. I said it right at the beginning. Spart1e was Xron. It suits Spart1e's style. Like, he doesn't like the whole defensive approach. He is a methodical player, but doesn't like the defensive, calculated players which you know and love. But at this point, there was so many... I think there's like 4 different frags where one player had the stack and somehow came up on top. They come out of these disadvantageous situations where clearly they shouldn't have done it, even with the map presence there and the height advantage. It was ridiculous, but well played for both these players, and Spart1e coming out on top in the end. Did it look like it at one stage?
Yeah, no, and that was the frag as well that kind of sealed it in my mind for me, that Xron was just looking absolutely outrageous. We're going to start to bring it back. It was those 2 rail frags, one after another. Quite possibly the smallest pixel angle he could have found through the door to be able to hit. God, Xron, he's got to be pixel sniffing. He must be inside his monitor.
Absolutely. And then just to add insult to injury, salt to the wound, that last frag just kind of made things quite nice for Spart1e in the end. But, you know, that was the kind of map he was after and managed to get it.
And obviously works out towards the end, right? When you get to that position where we had like 40 seconds left, you're on the Sorlag, what are you going to do but just run? All you have to do is waste time. It was 1 frag difference between them. So finally, kind of actually at that point was like, well, I've had enough fighting for now. I'll just run for the last 40 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just going to chill for now. I'll leave you to it for the last minute. But, you know, that's the field it's all like. You can chase or you can run away with the speed he has, and he managed to do that perfectly during the last minute as we hit into map number 2. Will be Blood coming in, and have to see what Xron can change here compared to last map.
Yeah, what differences will come into play. I was looking forward to this one as well, as I thought this might actually be quite an interesting map, but after the initial opener, this could be complete carnage. We've got the Doom and the Athena. Obviously, the double jump from the Doom with a passive definitely makes this map more open, more mobile for him to get around. And he's already starting off on a high note with a couple of tasty rails coming out.
Already, Spart1e not messing around, man. Let's get the rockets and the rails straight away to try and get the map control on the top bridge. Doesn't be the case, but a nice little round there from Xron at the time. What will it be his next move? Managed to stack up just a little bit more. But the contestant for the Mega will appear, but managed to get it. Surely he's going to leave him alone. Yes, he will. He's going to try and rotate round for that heavy. But he can get a rail off. Managed to get one. Will he try and go for the second? No, he won't. He's going to leave him for the time being. And he stacks up just that little bit more.
Spart1e playing slow now, looking to assert the map control. It's got the high ground. You can get those ears out and listen for any elephant feet stampeding around the map. But Xron, doing the same affair, was looking for a sneaky tag first. They trade a little bit of damage between each other, but Spart1e can immediately fall back and pick up the Mega. Xron does have control of the Heavy, though, if he wants it, and it's up in the next few seconds.
It should be illegal for Spart1e if we're at this point. He's barely missed anything at all. It's just kept him at bay. But what will happen at this point? Xron is so weak. Will he going to try and chase for the kill? Yes, he will. But will he be able to finish him off? Just barely a simmer of health. Managed to finish off anyway. Just barely missed that rail. Would have survived anyway with 10 HP. Again on spawn. Gets a little bit of damage and a second frag in a row within a matter of 10 seconds. Fabulous stuff.
Oh, it was beautiful. I thought things had gone a little bit shaky there when he couldn't quite finish it with the rocket, but he fully committed, didn't fancy switching things up. In the end, it pays off. The LG shut down and then forcing the spawn for quite a disgusting follow-up frag to take this 2-0 in the first 2 minutes of the game. Spart1e, he's come out swinging.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be in a rail battle with him right now, let's put it that way. That's probably one of the first ones we've actually seen him miss in quite some time. But he's got to be careful with the low ground. He's going to try and challenge it anyway, but great rocket fronts are on, but still manages to rail him, and it's now 3-0 in favour of Spart1e.
Where has this Spart1e been? This is fantastic.
Where's he been in our lives?
I know! This is absolutely amazing, Harry. This is the entertainment I needed coming out from this ridiculously superstar Swede who is still punishing. Get this rail out of his hands.
But the main thing is now Spart1e's keeping that high ground, making sure he has no attempt in any way, shape or form to try and go for that Mega, but it's going to push in anyway. A bit slow to switch weapons, but takes him down anyway. Doesn't even matter. Took his time. He's going to get that Mega. We'll probably get the armor afterwards. Yes, he does. But what can Xron do here? This is awful for him. He's trying to think of anything he can do, but the pressure from Spart1e has been incredible.
Yeah, the worst bit is as well, Xron's spawn didn't really help him out, meaning Spart1e's been able to get both of the major items. Xron is nearly dead, now he is, as the rail reactions coming through are just rampant from Spart1e. Looks for the rocket finish, but it's going to barely miss. Doesn't matter though, as he's got a lightning gun in his pocket. And Xron has been turned to dust. 6-0 in the space of 3 minutes. This is just madness.
Spart1e, you need to stop it. This is just, you know, there's people watching here. This is ridiculous. But yeah, he has the same routine. Goes for the Mega, goes for light armor every single time. He's had the same routine for the last couple of minutes. But Xron doesn't have an answer. He doesn't know what he should do in this matter of time. He's got to contest something with his rails. But that's the other thing. He hasn't been picking up the rails as much. But as we say right now, he must get 2 on the board. He's going to try and get another, but it still doesn't matter. 7-0, just increasing his lead like there's no tomorrow.
Literally hugging each other to death there. That's just crazy. 7-0. Spart1e shut him down once again. I don't think Xron's really been able to get a feel for the route that Spart1e's been running as well, because half the time he's just been getting shut down. Then when he has been coming back in, he's getting punished from the spawn. Twice now we've seen it happen from the 4 spawns. He needs to get an arsenal built up as well. He's not being able to actually get himself any weapons to play with here.
Spart1e's been doing the same movement and the same routine for the last 3 minutes, and it's been working for him. Can't fix what ain't broken. That's what we can say here. And his rails, it's just been a... Oh, it's just a joke. It's mad. And Xron doesn't really have an answer. He struggles to get the rails now and again. When he does, he gets taken down straight away. But look at this. He has his number. He's obviously done his research. on exactly how he plays this map.
Yeah, this is like aggressive control 101 from Spart1e. He's having all the items that he wants. Finally, he falls. And this is in good timing as well. Xron, a little bit of chip from the spawn as well. Going to be able to tag him up. Goes over, picks up the Mega. Delayed it slightly. And he can now head over. This could be where the tide maybe starts to turn if Xron can pick up both of the major items here.
Xron now, he's still got plenty of time. Still got 5 minutes left. But the way Spart1e's playing... My goodness, we'll have to see. But we notice that Spart1e's playing a little bit more defensive compared to before. He's just a little bit worried. I think he's just trying to play it out with those 6 frags. And look at this now. Again, he's going to be on the chase. He's going to see if he can catch him up if he can. But Spart1e's doing such a good job with the runarounds. Nice ring around a Rosie from him as he will try and go up to the top. Rockets gets away again. It's basically cat and mouse, but my goodness. Lovely rail there from Xron.
They also left that heavy up for an entire rotation. It's now finally been picked up, so obviously we've got, what, like 10 seconds different nearly between the 2 items. Xron's going to know this. It depends how much Spart1e's going to be clued up with the changes that will be coming into place. This could throw him off with his route that he wanted to run. And it's all going to be about Xron now. This is where the tide really does start to change. Spart1e, look at him, Harry. He's just been sat there for the past 30 seconds.
I don't blame him. He's playing a defensive game. He's playing a little bit more calculated than I expected. He's trying to get the gauntlet out, but no, that's not going to happen. Nice try there, fella, but it isn't going to pay dividends. But I think Spart1e's realised now. It's already been a minute. He's already got 3 frags back. I think he needs to kind of find some kind of... Not just some congestion, but some kind of comeback here to get something going, because this is not going to last too long. Will he get that full frag? Yes, he does. Already 4 on the board in the space of 90 seconds. Spart1e, I don't think that defensive play is going to work anymore, my friend.
No, yeah, it's all well and good trying to slow it down, right, to just waste the time, but when you've already given away this many frags in such quick succession, and it's the fact it's Xron on the Athena, he's got those grappling hooks, he is going to start flinging himself around like an absolute lunatic. You need to put pressure against it. You can't let it just take its natural course, because he will start to overthrow you.
And even with the tri-bolt, that will give him enough power to kind of, enough range, shall we say, to find out the information he so desperately requires. 3 minutes left. He does have the heavy, but once again, Spart1e's playing defensive. He's trying to see what he can do, but give him a little bit of info. May have missed the first shot, but he's going to chase after him anyway, but he's going to find that rotation round. Spart1e knows exactly what he's playing at. He's going to contest for the Mega, manage to get it, so he's got a little bit of leadway here. Just needs to hold on to it.
Yeah, it's actually started to fall a little bit back in his favour in the sense the major items are going his way again. Xron is now hitting some ridiculous rails, but he needs to get those frags. That's going to be the commodity now. It's not just about the damage, as there really isn't that much time left, and that near miss could come back to haunt him. At least he's going to get the heavy, but he really needs to begin putting the pressure on now.
I love how he delayed the heavy. Oh, what a frag again. He delayed the heavy to make sure he mistimed it, but also he just faked it out to try and finish off Spart1e at the time. But 5 frags back to back. Misses one, but must get a little bit of damage done anyway. But both his players on an equal stack. So it looks like we'll get that Mega. Not the case anymore. With the heavy coming up in 6 seconds. And of course he's going to contest it to keep him at bay. But it's looking very good for Xron. Spart1e needs an answer. Needs to find out one way or another how to actually capitalise on this.
That was a pretty grim direct he hit as well, to just strip Spart1e of everything he had. Xron now has a huge advantage with the stack. The rotation is back in his hands. He knows how to navigate effectively now, and he has the drop on Spart1e here. He just needs to catch up with him. Couldn't land the rail, and this is where things will get a bit worrying. This is squeaky bum time now, Harry. He doesn't have long, and he needs to get these next 2 frags.
I'm not going to lie, not my favourite times, but they do happen. He does only have 1:20 on the clock, but still a little bit of time to... Maybe he doesn't take him out for the next 30 seconds, and he can put him on spawn afterwards, depending on where his position is. But he knows exactly where he's going to go straight in. He needs to take the risk, and he does. Must get 1 rail off, but he's so weak. He needs to chase this kill. He does. Gets 1 rocket. He's still trying to pick him off, but it missed out. It's such an important rail. Gets the LG and managed to pick him off once more. Only 1 frag. Again, misses the spawn rail. my goodness, this could be a potential OT depending on how Xron approaches this.
When he clipped into the wall, I thought that was it. I thought Spart1e was going to be able to get away off the back of it. Then the follow-up rail didn't quite land. This is it. It all comes down to these next 30 seconds to see if we are going to be able to push this one out to a sudden death, or if Spart1e will start to walk away with the series, as it would be a 2-0 if he can take this. Xron tri-bolting out like an absolute madman. Does punish him finally with a rail. If he hit that, it could have been a different story, but now he's got 20 seconds left to capitalize, Harry. It's do or die.
Oh no!
And the Mega could have saved him.
But he's still going to try and go in anyway. Misses the rail. He's missed so many rails over the last minute. He's going to try and go in anyway. Not the case. My goodness, Spart1e just barely manages to take that, but let's be real, Xron had to chase that kill down. If he hit those rails in that last minute, it could have been a completely different story. And even the damage, both had similar map presence, but my word, what a map number 2.
God, that is the worst way to go down as well. An 8-6 scoreline, and it's the uppercut that blasts him out of the server. Xron feeling just eternally doomed right now.
Yeah, you can say that again, but yeah, I could have gone either way. If he hit those rails, he could have kept the map control, find a few rockets down and then see what happens afterwards. But it's like I said earlier, he left it a little bit late, tried to go for that spawn rail. If he got a spawn rail, Spart1e might have played a little bit more defensive and hoped that maybe he's gone and rotated another way. Wasn't the case, but it's just those last few rails. It just let him down in the end. And I think he's going to be kicking himself just a bit.
It's rough because obviously there were so many like crazy flashy rails that he hit, and it was just like, whoa, like Xron is back, absolutely just coming out of his cage and looking like he's going to lock it down. And then like 3 of the rails that were a must that he needed to hit just unfortunately let him down in the moment. Oh, it's such a shame. The fact that there was just so little time left to play with as well. Crazy, crazy gameplay from Spart1e already today, though. Some of the action he has been providing is just sick.
I would love to have known his rail percentage in the first 5 minutes. He was not missing anything. It was just crazy. This is definitely one of his better maps, to say the least, in my opinion. But my goodness, Xron, I think we have to give credit to Xron's comeback. It was very difficult. It was 7-0 down at the time, but it's like I said earlier, he still had 5 minutes to play with. If you get him on spawn a few times and keep him at bay, you should be perfectly fine, especially with Athena, keep him up and actually chase him down, which he did. It's just those rails in the last minute. But Spart1e, you saw during that first half, he used the same rotation for the Mega, for the armor every single time, and there was no answer for it. Finally he did, but it was just a little bit too late.
Yeah, there was just nothing that could really be done. The fact it did come back so close towards, you know, such a slim margin of literally 1 frag that was forced upon the chase, and this is it as well, such a key rail that missed straight into the wall, a little bit of a slowdown as well when Xron turned the corner. It's unfortunate. Like, the slight differences that could have changed the outcome of this one are absolutely ridiculous. And then going down to just being slapped in the face by the Doomslayer, never ideal.
Yeah, hate to see it really, don't you? Yeah,
you do hate to see it.
But it's just that rail on the Mega. If he hit that, it would have gone to OT and it could have been anyone's game. Xron may have actually won that because he had map control at the time. He would have taken probably the heavy afterwards, and then the rotation would have happened. It would have seen what happened afterwards. But yeah, you couldn't call that. We said it earlier that both these players are very aggressive. They're going to try and take each other out no matter fourth. But, you know, they don't wait for mistakes. They force them to happen, and we've seen it in both these maps.
Oh, yeah. And it's also really come back to show that obviously it doesn't matter what you've seen in the past, doesn't matter what the benchmarks show. We both thought that Xron would be able to take this series. Already 2-0 down, Spart1e is looking revitalized, rejuvenized, and absolutely ready to run rampant here on the 3rd and final map. He is on the BJ, so let's see if Blazkowicz can blow his way through this one, or if it is going to be the Strog and Pika coming out on top.
But if Spart1e gets a lead on this map, he can play defensive. He has plenty of rotations, plenty of ways to flank, or actually plenty of ways to try and at least get away or find another obstacle to give Xron as we go forward. But at this point, we'll have to see. As already he's been chased down, gets railed straight away, and you can tell Xron wasn't happy about that last map. He's going in straight away, getting that first frag on the board.
The worrying bit is as well, is he could chain so many kills together here fairly quickly. You've got to take that crouch slide into effect, right? Just how quick Strog can be these days. It's worrying, but this is quite an awkward scuffle between the both of them. Xron only just stays alive because the Mega, and Spart1e, he busts out that dual wield and leaves him lifeless on the ground and can actually net himself a second frag in record time here. No heavy for you. It's just going to be another death chalked up on the board.
It's not looking too good after the start Xron had. But now Spart1e is going to be contesting that Mega to see where he comes from. He's going to find exactly where he is. Finds a few rockets, does miss a few, but there's defensive rockets just to make sure he keeps him at bay. Doesn't need to do any damage, but at least it shows the presence that he's there and you cannot go through. But it will be waiting for that heavy. Managed to try and get it, as I say, but it gets railed off. Managed to get one of his own anyway. So Xron needs to find out another way, another calculation to see how he can push through. But as I say, that Spart1e's find some rockets down, trying to get a little bit of damage done. Gets one in vital one. He's so weak, picks him off again, and that's a third frag for Spart1e.
Oh yeah. If there was any question of Spart1e skill stealing, it is absolutely busting through the roof right now, as he has looked just crazy with the rails he has been hitting today. It's normally the rockets that we write home about, but his entire arsenal has been crisp. He is an online-able, Harry. 4-1.
He's a dangerous man, and at this point, Xron needs to really think about what his next, not even his next steps, what his options are at this point. Spart1e's 3 steps ahead, is going to try and go the LG, charges for the rockets, fair enough, understandable. 5th one on the board, and it's already been 2 minutes on the map like Ruins. Crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, stay in your home. Spart1e is on the loose, and he is just ridiculous. Oh, you do not want to meet this man in a dark alley, as he is just punishing Xron every time he dares to step in front of him.
Taken down once more. Xron's just trying to do anything he can, but just has no way out, and is going to find him once more. Will it be a 7th on the board? He's going to push in anyway. Of course he can. He's got plenty of frags on the board. He's got plenty of room to take some of his risks. So close to taking him out. He's got no armor. He's got such a slim of health. But it looks like he will be leaving him alone, which is understandable because he is going to get that next Mega.
He's been giving us some of the fastest action, frags we've seen in quite some time. He is just diving in at every given opportunity. He's willing to take all of these firefights, and he's giving us a lot to write home about as well. Another nice little tag coming through, as he'll be able to dink Xron down with a rail. Assert dominance over the map, as all the major items are starting to go his way. It's really looking good for Spart1e right now, Harry.
Yeah, it's almost a replica Blood Covenant. It just depends on what he can do after this, but keeps him at bay for the time being, but he needs to get out of his spot. He's the one with the advantage, but it doesn't matter anyway. Xron had his number, had the height advantage. He was no way of getting out of that one, but this is his opportunity. But it's like I said earlier, Spart1e can play defensive if he wants to, but will he vote? No, of course he won't. He's going to contest the heavy straight away. Even though he doesn't get it, at least he gets another frag on the board, but needs to seriously be careful. He needs to get out of there, but gets a nice little rail. Just add insult to injury there.
He's just so confident in his own plays right now to know when to dive in and potentially go for what could be marked up as an overcommit. But for him, he knows he can back it up. He's hitting the shot, so he's willing to take those risks. He's also got control again of the major items. He's got the Mega, dove straight down, dirtied the timing slightly there on the heavy before he's been able to snatch that one up, and now he can just get away. And all he really needs to do is just that. Escape, delay, waste time, because he's already got 8 frags in 4 minutes, Harry. This is just crazy.
He needs to keep the pressure on for now, because at this stage, you might as well keep that map control, the map presence, and actually do what you can. But now it's 8-3. You've got to remember, even if you do have that defensive style to play a bit more methodical than he normally would, it's only 5 frags apart. And last map said it all, really. It doesn't matter how far ahead you are, there's always that comeback opportunity. But does get a couple of rails done. He's going to try and push him. Xron just barely misses that rail going up that lift. But misses another one, but this is where he seriously needs to back off. Very risky. Both his players are taking so many big risks and still chasing him down. Will he actually be able to take him down? No, he doesn't. Spart1e has one of his own. Just barely managed to stay alive there.
That is just crazy. Diving in again and again and again. So much chase coming through. It was like a marathon to keep up with him. And Spart1e is already back to business straight away. No time off for him as he starts to punish. Chipping away at Xron from a distance. Both of the items going into his back pocket once again. And we're only 5 minutes in.
Both of these players are big risk takers, so I'm not surprised they're in each other's face 24/7 on all 3 of these maps. Even on a map like Ruins, it doesn't matter. They'll contest whatever they need to, no matter what kind of stack they have. We saw someone do that earlier, but Zarel gets another one for himself. Will he get one more to try and clean him up? Yes, he does. Leaves himself with 15 HP, but we'll get that Mega to complement.
Ooh. Wow. The Pika! That should have been it. The Pika goes up from Xron. He looked for the finisher, but he's not going to get it. Spart1e, I don't know how he's been able to keep himself alive in that situation, but the cat-like reflexes have really come through to save him.
He's just lucky he's railing like a madman at this point.
Yeah.
If he wasn't, then that would have been another frag down, and then a comeback would have been a virtue, but it's going to be chased down anyways. We'll get his LG out, we'll try and get as much damage as possible, but Little Pigs with the rockets there, gets the round, it's 11 HP. Surely he's going to get cleaned up. Yes, he will. It's another frag on the board for Xron, but he needs to seriously step up his game, the pace, the speed he's playing at, because he's only got 3.5 minutes left on the clock, and Spart1e can, right now, play how he feels. Just wait for the right opportunity to try and rotate rounds and push him when he feels his best. But as I say, that gets to rail, doesn't matter, another frag on the board.
This is great, though. This is the beginnings of a comeback for Xron here. You've got the major items now. You've got a nearly complete arsenal of the weapons of mass destruction he needs to be able to wield to just completely begin to punish. And again, another frag. He's really starting to chain these together as Spart1e's going to go down. 4 frags difference between them now as he's looking to close that gap. The Pika damage coming out. Looked like he almost got him off the ledge there as well.
He did a lot of damage with that Pika. I was quite surprised about that, but Xron's doing everything right here. As long as he hits these rails, with Sander he doesn't, it's going to cause him a little bit of trouble. So the next 25 seconds he's going to try and get his stack back up to normal and see if he can find it. He finds him anyway. Spart1e found him, shall I say. Some good rockets, but it just wasn't enough. As he's to seriously be careful, only 2.5 minutes remaining and gets taken down straight away. What a time to actually manage to conclude that fight.
Yeah, Tribolt Triumph there coming out as he's able to land them all directly into that chest cavity of Spart1e and leave him as just giblets all over the floor. Starts to recoup his arsenal as well. He's got the rockets back. You definitely don't want Xron to have those. He has been causing carnage with them. The Pika going for the kamikaze straight into Spart1e. And he started to fall back over towards the Mega. But it's not going to be up for the next 10 seconds, so it's about the fight. And the rockets do pay off for Xron. Also playing straight off the spawn. This could be too much of a risk. He might have wanted to keep his distance.
I loved what Spart1e did there. He purposely waited behind the pillar on spawn to make him think that no one's there so he can get their light armor. No, that wasn't the case. He peeked out after a few seconds and it made dividends. It made a massive difference. And now, even though he's on the back foot, he managed to get away safely.
That's come back to save him so much. That's put him into a great position because the amount of time it will waste as well before Xron's able to actually take another fair fight. Yeah, he's going to get the kill here, but now you've got about 60 seconds left and you've still got to get these next 2 frags. He's not going to be able to force it off the back of the spawn either. Mega's back up. Heavy's coming up in 5 seconds. Unless he can get himself into a good rotation right now and then chain the next 2 frags together, this could be bad.
The only problem with Spart1e, if he does contest anything, that's his position given away, and then that's it. He's pretty much done for. And then if it goes to OT, then of course Xron's going to have the biggest stack going forth. But he's trying to find information to just find out exactly where he is. But I said it earlier, this is not Blood Covenant, this is Ruins. He can easily hide wherever he likes, but it has a little bit of a feeling to see where he is. He finds him in the end, and Spart1e's, oh my goodness, managed to take so much damage, takes him down. Spart1e, my friends, got to figure out a way out here. You better hide somewhere else because you've only got 30 seconds left remaining. And look at the stack of Xron. It's just cat and mouse here. I think he knows exactly where he is. It's gone through anyway, but Spart1e's just doing everything he can to stay alive.
It was disgustingly cheeky from him. If it paid off, like we would have been discussing just how clever it could have been, right? But the unfortunate fact is he got caught out a little bit too early. So there's actually not that much time left at all. They're both going to go down towards the heavy room though, but he goes up the bounce pad. That's it. He might have been able to get away right there, unless he can kill him now. No, it doesn't matter. Wasting the time is what has saved him. Spart1e, he 3-0s the series. Xron, he was chasing him, but if this was a game of hide and seek, Spart1e would have won it.
Hide and seek champion right there.
Hiding behind the fridge, Harry. No one ever looks behind the fridge.
That is that is true. But that was such a great play. When you're on those kind of high pressure moments, it's very easy to panic and go, right, I've spawned, let's just go for light armor and then see what happens after. But he knew that Xron needed that armor. He knew that after that last bout, he needs to get something going, he needs to get his stack back up, but hid for a good 3 seconds, decided to peek afterwards, and I think that was literally the game changer throughout the entire map.
It's crazy how much that has actually paid off for him. It's won him the entire game. And I mean, really, in terms of the frags that we had coming out, Spart1e again looked so dominant for what, first 5-6 minutes of the game. It was all about Spart1e. Xron finally starts to mount a comeback, and that's been the tale of pretty much every match we've had, right? Unfortunately, Xron can't close it down those last few seconds because Spart1e's just been able to do enough to buy him enough time to close it out. It always has come down to what, nearly 1 or 2 frags in every one of these games, which is quite miraculous. It's been so close on every map.
Yeah, commiseration to Xron. I feel like the stat line for the series doesn't actually show exactly what the scores would have been. Like, 1 or 2 frags between both these players every single time. And there was a lot of times where Xron had to force out the pushes because he only had rockets, didn't have the LG in the rail. It happened a couple of times, but he came out on top anyway. But like I said, both these players are huge risk takers. They'll do anything they can to make something happen. And that's why they're in each other's faces 24/7. But some great height control. We saw some good map points and damage from Xron towards the end. But it just wasn't going to happen. And we saw from Blood Covenant, there's not really enough room to play back defensive, but on Ruins, if you've got a minute left, you're 2 or 3 frags in front, it's worth the risk.
Yeah, and I mean, just worked out for Spart1e in the end, right? He was able to understand how to play it the entire time. The aggression was on point, but also I think it's more the fact just throughout the whole series, his rail looks ridiculous today. If this is the new trend from Spart1e we're going to see going forward, and he's being able to hit shots like this consistently, I'm back in giving faith towards Spart1e. He's always had the experience. If we're seeing that aim come back, then boy, is it going to be fun watching him throughout the rest of Stage 3.
It's just nice to see him back in the Pro League. He's been grinding so much. It doesn't matter whose stream I watch. It's like, if there's someone's like playing ranked, they're matching against Spart1e. I've seen Zeneku play against Spart1e a few times. I've seen, Spart1e's in every person's stream, kind of grind. He is absolutely everywhere, trying to do everything he can to make this comeback of how much of a great player he was and still is now. And I really feel like the grind is paying off after what we just saw. That performance was just incredible.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully we've got even better games to come tonight. So why don't we take a look at what is going to be coming up after the break with Nosfa versus Saigib. Now, Harry, this is our second pre-recorded game of the day. After this point going forward, of course, we're going to have them live matchups. What are our quick thoughts on this one?
Awoken Nosfa, this is perfect for him. He's very good on Awoken. He's a very fast-paced player. From his region, they're known for having a superior aim and very aggressive. Saigib, a bit like the opposite. He's very methodical, likes to kind of figure out what he wants to do and set traps, so Ruins is probably more his style. So I think it's back and forth in terms of how the maps will pan out.
Well, we'll have to find out. It could be quite a close series between these two. That'll be coming up after the break. For now, get yourself a drink, get ready, calm down a little bit after the chaos that Spart1e's just caused, and we'll be back with that after the break.